Namaskar and welcome to yet another season of Banega Swasth India. NDTV and Dettol have been in partnership to get you the Swasth mantra. We made the switch from Swachh to Swasth because यहाँ हर कोई मानता है कि स्वास्थ्य को सीरियसली लेना चाहिए बॉस। और वही मुहिम एक बार फिर से छेड़ी है। जैसे कि आपने अभी अमिताभ बच्चन जी से सुना कि उन्होंने क्या कहा कि किस तरीके से स्वास्थ्य पर अगर हम गंभीरता से ध्यान दें तो उसका सीधा असर अर्थव्यवस्था पर पड़ता है। इट इम्पैक्ट्स द इकोनॉमी। इट मेक्स इकोनॉमिक सेंस टू थिंक अबाउट योरसेल्फ, थिंक अबाउट योर हेल्थ, because it improves the health of the country. So let's kick off this 12-hour telethon. I would like to introduce Mr. Bachchan. You already heard Dr. Pranoy Roy. आप दोनों की अगुवाई में ये मुहिम चल रही है और ये 8वां वर्ष है उसका। आप दोनों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। I would also like to introduce Mr. Lakshman Narasimhan, CEO of Reckitt. Thank you very much. And Gaurav Jain, Senior Vice President, South Asia, Reckitt. Thank you very much to the two of you. We've also partnered with NDTV on this extremely important subject because, as we said, this just does not make sense to be healthy. It makes economic sense as well. And, you know, we've seen those reports by Dettol which lays out the structure. How much can you earn if you spend 1 rupee on health? I think that was a very important study that was done by Dettol. Dr. Roy.
Yeah, actually, Amitabh, you look so much better with the mask on. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, suddenly you have to speak also. Just before we start, I want to ask you a few questions, but the foundation, I have one issue I'd like to raise about the attitude of the rich Western nations and their kind of lack of some realization that we are all in one planet. And that's kind of the theme of this whole 12 hours, one planet. And we should leave nobody behind. We often criticize the West for being self-centered and not thinking about the rest of the world. But in all respects, it is always me first, the economy, the environment, the vaccines. But now, COVID has taught us a major lesson that truly reveals that we live on one planet, one earth. It is, let's not say don't think of your self-interest. Tell the West, think of your self-interest. And to think of your self-interest, you need to think of others. Take vaccines, for example. By not sharing it with the rest of the world, the result has been the emergence of variants in non-vaccinated countries. And those variants come back and bite the rich countries badly. If they had shared their vaccines more, and it's true about India, we need to share it with the rural areas, rich and poor, everybody lives in one planet. So it would have saved so many lives if they had shared their vaccines more. And we need to learn that. That's a big lesson, a positive lesson we're learning from this pandemic. And extend that lesson to the environment. While the rich countries are telling poorer nations, you must do this and you must do that to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050, but they'll not help. They said, do it on your own. The rich countries that are actually largely to blame for creating the global carbon emission problem for the last 100 years, now tell developing countries, you do it yourself. But then rich countries must realize that, like vaccines, we live in one environment, one earth, one planet. It's in their self-interest to treat this as one earth. Carbon emissions rising from poorer nations don't stay within the borders. We don't have borders anymore. The world knows no borders anymore. And like COVID variants that spread across the globe, carbon emissions and pollution will spread and impact the lives of richer nations too. So for all of us, it's a lesson. This is one world, one planet, and it is in the self-interest, as Sanket was just saying, of everyone to reach out and help each other. Because in the end, it comes back, and if you don't do that, it comes back and bites you. Nobody's asking for charity. Self-interest should make everyone realize, the rich realize that they can no longer look inwards. That's the theme, one planet. So it's like, you think I'm looking after myself, I'll, get my vaccine, but you need to actually make sure everybody gets it, share. For once we learned a lesson that really this is one planet.
Yeah, I think the universality of the problem, which was the disease, the virus, made all of us come together. But as you rightly said, we can't be selfish in our thought.
Right.
And as Sanket was just saying that, even when the health does not improve of a nation, the GDP falls.
Right.
And that's what I said in the opening monologue. When, despite the fact that you are rich and you're popular and you're a developed country, if you're not healthy, even the healthy nations, their GDP drops, and that's terrible for any nation.
Yeah.
The universality of the problem has become one.
Yes, yes.
The rich countries, as you were saying, Pranay, they tend to have this tendency that, we are developing nations and you're third world and you think for yourself and stuff like that. But for the first time, everyone is facing the same problem.
Yes.
And therefore, they need to look at this problem in some sort of a universal manner.
Exactly.
You can't just discriminate. And absolutely, one of the largest pollutants in the world are America and, well, unfortunately, India as well. But if there is a common problem, then we must all deal with it on a common platform.
You're right.
You're making the vaccines. We are the largest vaccine producer in the entire world. We never fell short of wanting to share those vaccines with the rest of the world.
Right.
So
Very
if we did
important,
that,
yeah.
you should be reciprocating that.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
I think one of the great lessons of this entire 7 years, and this is the 8th year, is health is also universal and is so crucial as a basis for, as Amitabh was saying, GDP growth and for the welfare and quality of life. Health is the fundamental factor we must focus on, right?
Thank you for having me here, and thank you for the
Thank
partnership with NDTV and
Thank
with Amit Ji for the last 8th season. It's been a privilege to be here. I fully agree with you that as we look at a country, we look at the world, I think what this recent episode has taught us is just how inextricably linked we are. Both, by the way, in the problem, but also in the solution. If you just think about the positive side of it, and some of the developments we've seen in technology that have actually helped in this crisis. Technology has moved beyond boundaries, and I know we can as well. But we've got to think about how we are linked with each other and share, because if we don't really vaccinate the world, we won't get out of the spiral that we are in. And to the point that you made, and what we've been saying all along, is health absolutely is a foundation for any economy, and hygiene is the foundation of health. And so if you put all that together, it really brings us into a very important topic for this country. Is how do we get healthier? How do we get much more prosperous? But how do we bring everybody along? Which I think is the heart of what we're trying to do this year.
And Gaurav, I mean, you in India, you found people receptive towards hygiene, and there's been a change. It's been quite a major transformation that suddenly people realize that their health, their families, their children depend a lot on hygiene and simple factors. Wash your hands, cleanliness. That's changed a bit, has it? I'm just thinking of the positives that we've learned from the last 2 years.
Yeah, no. First of all, thanks a lot for having this physically. I think getting Lakshman back to India after 2 years, and thank you, Mr. Bachchan, for being here physically. It's great. And I think also this very important topic of hygiene, which I think is not a very glamorous topic, as many people have said. It's maybe perhaps today the most important thing, health and hygiene, but it's not been glamorous. And to continue with efforts like yours for 8 years and to bring it to this level and what COVID has now taught us, I mean, we've all got a crash course in hygiene. I think the whole world has got it. So I think the whole behavior change towards good hygiene has happened. We track it, we see it. Obviously, during the pandemic, everything has gone up, including basic hygiene habits, hygiene around the home, hand washing. We focus a lot on hand washing. It's perhaps the easiest, simplest way to protect. And now WHO, governments all over the world has been saying that. So 40% of diarrheal caused diseases, cold and flu infections spread through hand hygiene. other gastro, apart from COVID, obviously, apart from virus. And so I think it's all gone up. And I think one of the tasks for us ahead is to make sure that it doesn't go back down. I mean, because that can happen. I mean, people do behavior change this time maybe a bit forcefully. And it's our job maybe in the next 2-3 years to make sure that we keep the basic hygiene habits that have built up over time and over the last 2 years to that level. And that I think is what we'll focus on.
So Amitabh, in a way, the positive that's come out of this terrible pandemic is that it's the biggest catalyst for Swachh and Swasth.
Yeah.
People have begun to realize the importance of it more than ever before.
That's because everyone is saying the same language, speaking the same language.
And you've been bullying them also.
When you give one expression, say COVID or virus, everybody knows. I doubt if ever in the entire world, one expression, one language was understood by the entire universe. And if they're understanding it, work towards it, buddy, because, all our health
You
matters.
did this with polio, you bullied people into doing it, now you're doing it here also.
But
they listen to you.
If my bullying is going to work, then I don't mind doing it over and over again.
आपको तो सरकार की तरफ से ये न्योता भी था कि भाई आप लोगों को बुली कर दीजिए कोविड पर लोगों को एक साथ ले आइए
जी।
पर एक 20 मिनट में अभी जो यहाँ बात हुई है उससे एक सेंस पता चल रहा है कि आज 12 घंटे में हमारा एजेंडा क्या होगा। तो एजेंडा बहुत साफ है कि कोविड की वजह से, जैसे गौरव जी बता रहे थे, ये क्रैश कोर्स मिल गया है सबको कि स्वास्थ्य का ध्यान रखना है। तो क्योंकि सबको मिल गया है इसलिए यह सुनिश्चित करना है कि कोई पीछे ना छूट जाए। नो वन इज लेफ्ट बिहाइंड।
Health is key to a prosperous India. The COVID pandemic has reduced global GDP by 15%. Only a Swasth Bharat can be a Sampann Bharat. Find out how you can make a difference over the next 12 hours. We celebrate 75 years of India and major milestones in the field of health. India's eradication of polio and smallpox, diseases we never thought we would get rid of. And now, setting world records in our vaccination drives against COVID. We will unveil our call to action. No country can be successful unless it creates an inclusive society where only as strong as our most vulnerable people. We will leave no one behind. We will discuss the impact of zoonotics. We will also talk about why self-care is important. To build a post-pandemic world that will not be so vulnerable again is a huge challenge. We look at our reality post-COVID. There is a reason hand washing and proper hygiene has been the best weapon against disease, from the Spanish flu to this coronavirus. You will meet some amazing young innovators and inventors changing the healthcare game. Science plays a crucial role in helping us achieve our health goals. Good health for humans is only possible if the animals and the environment around them are healthy, as all the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat comes from the natural world. The youth of today will be the guardians of the nation tomorrow. Mental well-being is key to a functioning, positive, and compassionate society. India is a country with one of the largest youth populations. To acknowledge this, we will be looking at adolescent health, diversity, well-being, and gender associations. We will reach our finale by looking at the promises and commitments that will be made to help India find a prosperous future. We are one health, one planet, one future, and we are all in this together. We leave no one behind.
We're really very happy to have Venkaiah Naidu, the Vice President of India. He sent us a message for all of us, and it just shows how important this issue is. Sir.
Sri Amitabh Bachchan ji, Sri Pranay Roy ji, team of Dettol and NDTV, viewers of NDTV who are watching this program across the country and outside, distinguished dignitaries and other participants in this program. My dear sisters and brothers, I am happy to know that the NDTV has launched another edition of its annual event, Banega Swasth India. This is a very timely and important initiative that seeks to improve public awareness on the crucial issues of health and wellness. I compliment NDTV for this effort. COVID-19 pandemic has taught us many important lessons. It has also made a awareness as a challenge. Every one of us have now become aware, from individuals to governments, that has to focus greater attention on health. Before moving further, I would like to convey my deepest appreciation to all the doctors and other frontline healthcare workers for the extraordinary resilience, courage, and spirit of sacrifice displayed by them in fighting the pandemic and serving the people. My compliments also to all the other COVID warriors, from sanitation staff to media, police personnel, for their dedicated service, and particularly even the farmers for their service and commitment during this pandemic. My dear friends, as you are all aware, India is a young nation with 65% of the population below the age of 35 years and 50% is below the age of 25 years. It is therefore imperative for our youngsters to adopt a healthy and disciplined lifestyle. Underline disciplined lifestyle. They must undertake regular physical activity like yoga or cycling, walking, avoid sedentary habits, unhealthy diet like junk food, and consumption of substances that are harmful to health. Youngsters must also take special care not to get addicted to digital devices. India has made significant gains in health indices since independence. The center and states must work in a team India spirit with renewed vigor to further improve the health indices of the country, be it the infrastructure, availability of doctors, nurses, and modern healthcare facilities. One is increasing public spending on health. There is also need to augment the health infrastructure at various levels through a public-private partnership. The stark disparities in health infrastructure between urban and rural areas need to be bridged. While bringing tertiary care to the rural areas, it is imperative that we strengthen our primary health care systems for better health outcomes. That's why I always suggest to the young doctors to serve some time in the rural areas. And I suggested to the government to make it mandatory before the first promotion that one should work in rural area for some time, because even today 60% of our population are living in the rural areas. It would be pertinent to point out that the government's flagship programs like Ayushman Bharat is a laudable initiative which has brought health assurance to millions of poor families. Going forward, we must focus on curbing the disturbing trend of increasing non-communicable disease in India, which is now account for around 60% of the deaths in the country. We need to create greater awareness among people on lifestyle diseases. I urge health experts and cultural icons to take the lead in this regard to educate the people. to make them aware of the dangers of this. The pandemic has also reminded us that our health is intricately connected to health of the planet. Man must avoid interfering with the natural ecosystems for his selfish interests. One health, one planet, one future is the way forward. That's why I always say, nature, culture, together for better future. Friends, finally I suggest that we move past the notion of healthcare as the absence of illness and take a holistic view of health that include physical, mental and spiritual well-being and empowers an individual to reach his or her full potential. This is the aim of Swastha Bharat, which will ultimately lead to Sampanna Bharat or a prosperous Bharat. Healthy India can become a wealthy India, not vice versa. So my best wishes to the audience of the NDTV and panelists on this program. I also would like to compliment Sri Amitabh Bachchan ji for his continued interest and participation in programs in creating awareness among the people. Let all of us strive together with a greater determination for a Swasth and Sampanna Bharat. Namaskar, Jai Hind.
Important message there.
Yes, absolutely.
And we are
Absolutely.
very, very fortunate to have a man of action who does things on the ground.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Gadkari. Just a quick question first before we move on about the lessons you have learned in these last 2 years, because it's such a dramatic change in everybody's lives. How does one manage and learn from this for the future?
Actually, frankly speaking, in my personal experience, my life was not very much disciplined.
Acha.
So now presently I'm doing yoga, exercise every day and pranayam. And because of that my total health is now in a very good position. So that is the reason that I am practically benefited from that. And this is the experience which is giving me because of COVID. And my health parameters are very good. And because of COVID, I start all these practices regularly. And today I feel very, very comfortable.
Because you are a bit like Amitabh Bachchan, bit wild anarchist in normal life. Anarchist, na? He's always been. So this has calmed you down.
My life was actually it was not totally related with any discipline, either with food habits and other things. But now this every day, even before this program, morning in Mumbai also, I take my exercise and pranayam, then I come here. So because of this, my habit now, my total things are changed. So this is to be a good thing for me, which I get it from the COVID experience. So I am very much happy, and when I given that video on YouTube, the crores of people are now in the world, they are taking it. It's not my contribution, but it is from the doctor who suggests me.
Right.
And I am benefited, so I am giving it to the people that you can use it.
गडकरी जी, एक मुहिम जो है आज के इस कार्यक्रम की, वो ये कि हम किसी को भी पीछे नहीं छोड़ेंगे. किसी भी समाज के हों, कहीं से भी हों, उनको हम पीछे नहीं छोड़ेंगे. सबको एक साथ उनके स्वास्थ्य के लिए हमें काम करना है. क्या राय है आपकी इस वक्त?
आपका उद्देश्य बिल्कुल सही है और हमें ये करना भी चाहिए, देश की आवश्यकता है, सरकार की भी प्राथमिकता है और हमको समाज से भी सहयोग चाहिए. पर मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इसमें पहले हमको हमारी जो निगेटिव बातें हैं, हमारी स्ट्रेंथ क्या है और हमारी वीकनेसेस क्या है, ये देखना होगा. जो इंटरनेशनल बेंचमार्क्स है उसके अनुसार हमारी वाटर पोल्यूशन, एयर पोल्यूशन और साउंड पोल्यूशन, ये हमारी बहुत बड़ी दिक्कतें हैं. और मैं विशेष रूप से अनुभव कर रहा हूँ कि हमें, जैसे पिछले बार में मेरी आपसे चर्चा हुई थी, इस बार थोड़ी प्रगति हुई कि परली के कारण दिल्ली में काफ़ी पोल्यूशन होता है, राइस स्ट्रॉ के कारण. इस बार 4 यूनिट लग गए जो परली से CNG बना रहे हैं. अगर ये 100 बन जाएंगे तो परली जलेगी नहीं, तो दिल्ली का स्वास्थ्य सुधर जाएगा. ऐसी वाटर पोल्यूशन, एयर पोल्यूशन और विशेष रूप से साउंड पोल्यूशन। तो साउंड पोल्यूशन और एयर पोल्यूशन का डायरेक्ट मेरे डिपार्टमेंट से संबंध है। तो मैं ये कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि आने वाले 5 साल में जो पेट्रोल यूज़ होने वाला है वो 10% पे आ जाए और जो डीजल यूज़ हो रहा है वो 25% पे आ जाए। तो उसका उपाय यही है कि हम लोग बायोफ्यूल जैसे इथेनॉल को अभी फ्लेक्स इंजन ला रहे हैं, इलेक्ट्रिक को इनकरेज कर रहे हैं, ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन पे काम कर रहे हैं। तो मेरा प्रामाणिक मत यही है कि जब तक हम सबसे पहले ये जो इन्वायरमेंट की हमारी एयर वाटर पोल्यूशन और एयर पोल्यूशन और साउंड, इसके पैरामीटर्स जो है ये जब तक सुधारते नहीं तब तक फ़ायदा नहीं होगा। दैट इज़ द फर्स्ट थिंग। सेकेंड थिंग, मुझे लगता है कि अवेयरनेस जो आप कर रहे हैं दैट इज़ रियली ए ग्रेट थिंग, कि लोगों को स्वस्थ रहने के लिए उन्होंने अपने पर्सनल लाइफ में किस प्रकार से रहना चाहिए, फूड हैबिट्स से लेकर एक्सरसाइज, योगा को अभी इंटरनेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म पर प्रतिष्ठा मिली है। और मैं ये मानता हूँ कि निश्चित रूप से पर्सनल लाइफ में ये डिसिप्लिन आने से हमको काफ़ी उपयोग होगा। तीसरी बात जो है कि जिसमें डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन होते हैं कि जितनी दवाइयाँ हम लेते हैं उसका फ़ायदा भी होता है और उसके साइड इफ़ेक्ट्स भी होते हैं। तो उसके बजाय क्यों नहीं हम हमारे हेल्थ पैरामीटर्स विदाउट यूजिंग मेडिसिन हमारी हैबिट से और हम उसको बदल दें। तो वो जो पब्लिक एजुकेशन है जो आप एक एम्बेसडर बन के काम कर रहे हैं, एनडीटीवी कर रहा है, और जिसके बारे में ये जो अवेयरनेस लोगों में पैदा होगा और विशेष रूप से जो छोटे बच्चे हैं उनमें जो पैदा होगा, इसका बहुत बड़ा फ़ायदा होगा। और मुझे लगता है कि इससे ही स्वस्थ भारत जो है वो निश्चित रूप से बनेगा।
Lakshman, and taking on from that, for years it's a kind of vindication of what Reckitt has been doing. You've been talking about cleanliness and hygiene for so many years. Do you find that the people, general population, have become more receptive and have understood the importance of it as a result of this pandemic?
You know, this pandemic has been a crucible, as Amitji said. You know, the idea that one world has got global, appeal in some ways or recognition.
Right.
You just think about what humankind has been through over the last 2 years, and it's quite unreal. I don't think we can ever look back, maybe 50, 100 years. It's just a handful of episodes that have actually been as defining as what's happened in the last couple of years. And we are seeing this fully around the world. The people have understood what it means to behave differently. Now, some people obviously will behave differently for a while and then go back. But I think just the length of time as it goes forward, I think people are recognizing that they absolutely have to behave differently. We're seeing this all over the world.
Yeah.
We're seeing this in the type of behaviors we see, in the penetration that we're seeing, in the messaging, in the products, all of it. And so I think that the world is a different place from where it was 2 years ago. I think also, by the way, one of the things we are seeing is that brands have a big role to play in some ways bridging some of these cracks in society. And so companies like ours, we set these big ambitions. We want to engage with 2 billion people in the world. And my people and I are just really focused on how we make that happen in a sustainable, positive manner. So whether it's water conservation with some of our brands, Harpic, or this brand called Finish, the water saving we are doing with it, with Dettol and what we're doing with education, and really in India, I think it's 116 million kids we are touching. And my goal for my team has been, how do we triple this? And technology is coming to our aid here. And so as we look at all the things coming together with public health, with technology, the ambitions we have are no more just theoretical, conceptual ambitions. We know we can make that happen. And so I charge my team to go make it happen. So I think these last couple of years have been an amazing crucible for humankind in a positive manner.
गडकरी जी, एक सवाल मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता था, आपके मंत्रालय से संबंधित है और स्वास्थ्य से भी संबंधित है। देखिए, जब बड़े बड़े हाईवे उनका निरीक्षण परीक्षण होता है, उसमें आपकी भी तस्वीरें हम देखते हैं। वो कनेक्टिविटी बहुत ज़रूरी है, बड़े शहरों को जोड़ देगा, गांव को भी जोड़ देगा, लेकिन जो लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी है, गांव की सड़कें, वो उसके ऊपर शायद फोकस कम रहता है। मैं सरकार के फोकस की बात नहीं कर रहा, वैसे उसके बारे में चर्चा भी कम रहती है। आपको लगता है कि उस पर फोकस ज़्यादा होना चाहिए? क्योंकि अगर आपको लोगों तक स्वास्थ्य पहुंचाना है तो वो गांव की सड़क ज़्यादा काम आएगी बजाय इसके कि एक कोई बड़ा हाईवे।
आपकी बात सही है, पर इसमें इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ ये है कि हमारे देश में कुछ रास्ते कॉरपोरेशन के पास होते हैं, कुछ स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पास होते हैं, कुछ अथॉरिटी के पास होते हैं, कोई MMRD, कोई दिल्ली में DDA के पास होते हैं, कभी कुछ नेशनल हाईवे के पास होते हैं। पर जब अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी प्रधानमंत्री थे तो उन्होंने मेरे अध्यक्षता में एक कमेटी बनाई थी। तब मैं महाराष्ट्र में मंत्री था, 2000 के समय, उस समय की बात थी। और उस समय हमने प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना बनाई, वो मैंने ही उस समय कमेटी में बनाकर उनको दिया था। आज 6.5 लाख गांव हिंदुस्तान में हैं, उसमें से 4.5 लाख गांवों तक अब मजबूत रास्ते बने हैं। तो निश्चित रूप से इसको प्रायोरिटी नहीं मिली, ये आपका कहना बिल्कुल सही है, और अभी मिली है। इसमें और ज़्यादा काम करने की आवश्यकता है, क्योंकि इससे गांव का स्वास्थ्य सुधर जाएगा। तो बिल्कुल सही बात है। और अब मैं कभी कभी कहता हूँ कि टार रोड और कंक्रीट रोड न भी बने, पर पत्थर का भी रोड अच्छा बनेगा वहीं का मटेरियल यूज़ करके, तो गाँवों को बड़ी राहत मिलेगी। अब बड़े प्रमाण पर यह काम हुआ है, पर इसको प्रायोरिटी मिलनी चाहिए, ये बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है, इससे काफ़ी परिणाम हो।
और एक चीज़ आपने और अभी मेरे ख्याल दौसा में, राजस्थान में किसी पत्रकार ने पूछ दिया, बड़ा गलत किया कि उसने बोला कि भाई हमें फ्री में सड़क पर चलने दीजिए, तो आपने बोला ये फोकटगिरी नहीं चलेगी। ये ठीक था, ये आपने एकदम सही बोला। लेकिन मैं आपसे सवाल ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि देश की स्वास्थ्य आपके सड़क के स्वास्थ्य से भी जुड़ी हुई है। फोकट में ना चलें लोग, लेकिन अगर सड़क का स्वास्थ्य ठीक नहीं है तो फिर उस खराब सर्विस के लिए लोग पैसा क्यों दें? क्योंकि नई नई सड़कों में गड्ढे हो जाते हैं, लोगों को अगर किसी को हॉस्पिटल जाना है वो अटकेगा।
देखिए, इसमें अलग अलग प्रकार के इश्यूज है। जैसे अभी वेस्टर्न अपने ये कोकण में बरसात बहुत होती है, वहाँ बिटुमिन के रास्ते नहीं टिकते, हम कंक्रीट रोड बना रहे हैं, तो कंक्रीट रोड के भी कोई दुष्परिणाम है। एक बात जरूर है कि ये जो हम लोग पब्लिक प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट में जो बनाते, जो बाहर से कर्जा लेते, लाखों करोड़ हमने उठाए, हमको उनका पैसा वापस करना है। तो मैं लोगों को एक कहता हूँ कि इफ़ यू वांट गुड सर्विसेज यू हैव टू पे फॉर इट।
एब्सोल्युटली।
तो इसलिए अच्छा वो भी फ़ायदा होता है। जैसे मुंबई और पुणे के बीच में मैं जब मंत्री था तो पहला एक्सप्रेस हाईवे बना, तो मुझे बहुत विरोध हुआ। तब मैंने कहा कि 8-9 घंटा लगता था मुंबई से पुणे, अब 2 घंटा लगता है। तो 2 घंटे में पेट्रोल भी बचता है, समय भी बचता है। तो वो जो टोल है उससे पेट्रोल जितना बचता है उससे ज़्यादा फायदा है। अभी मैं दिल्ली से मुंबई 12 घंटे में कर रहा हूँ, जो कम से कम 34-35 घंटे लग रहा है। अब एक ट्रक 48 आवर्स में दिल्ली से मुंबई करेगा, वो 20 आवर्स में करेगा। तो नेचुरली कॉस्ट कम हो जाएगी और इसलिए फ्यूल भी कम खर्चा होगी, पोल्यूशन भी कम होगा। ये विन विन सिचुएशन है। और ये जो रोड अब बड़े बना रही है, मजबूरन पब्लिक प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट से बना रहे हैं। अगर 25-25 लाख 30-30 लाख करोड़ के रोड बनाए तो इतना तो बजट नहीं है। तो ये बजट केवल 1,20,000 करोड़ का है। ये मुंबई में जो ये वर्ली बांद्रा आपके सामने बना है, फ्लाईओवर बने, तब हमारे पास पैसे ही नहीं थे, तो हमने ये पैसा बाहर से लोगों से उठाया, उसके ऊपर ब्याज दिया, तो वापस करना पड़ेगा। अगर वो नहीं करते तो मुंबई में 55 उड्डान पुल जो थे हमने फ्लाईओवर, वो 2 साल में बनाए। अगर बजट से बनाते तो 25 साल लगते, तो लोगों को और तकलीफ होती। तो इसलिए मैं ये मानता हूँ कि हमें थोड़ा सा लोगों को देना पड़ता है, तो भी उसमें फ्यूल में, टाइम में जो बचत है और सेफ्टी है, इसमें वो कवर हो जाता है।
जी, गडकरी जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद इस मुहिम से जुड़ने के लिए, यहाँ आने के लिए, ये बातें रखने के लिए और ये बताने के लिए कि सरकार गंभीरता से इस मुद्दे को ले रही है और कोई पीछे ना छूट जाए, उसको लेकर के भी आपकी पॉलिसी बन रही है। ये बहुत अच्छी बात है। तो आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू एंड कीप ऑन द
थैंक यू सर,
गुड वर्क। यस, थैंक यू।
अब एक छोटे से ब्रेक का वक्त है, लेकिन ये मुहिम अभी खत्म नहीं हुई है, अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। बने रहिए हमारे साथ।
स्वस्थ भारत जब रहेगा तभी तो बनेगा संपन्न भारत। स्वस्थ भारत जब रहेगा तभी तो बनेगा संपन्न भारत। स्वस्थ भारत जब रहेगा तभी तो भारत संपन्न बनेगा।
तो कार्यक्रम में एक बार फिर से आपका स्वागत है। आइए अब मैं आमंत्रित करता हूं डॉक्टर NK अरोड़ा, हेड हैं नेशनल टेक्निकल एडवाइजरी ग्रुप ऑन इम्यूनाइजेशन, और डॉक्टर श्रीनाथ रेड्डी, प्रेसिडेंट पब्लिक हेल्थ फाउंडेशन ऑफ इंडिया। आप दोनों का। डॉक्टर अरोड़ा, मैं पहले आपसे शुरू करना चाहता हूं टीकाकरण अभियान अब बहुत तेज़ी से चल रहा है और आप उसकी अगुवाई कर रहे हैं। अब वैसी भी स्थिति नहीं रही जैसे शुरुआत में थी इस साल के कि कम टीके थे और लोग बहुत ज़्यादा थे। लेकिन रियलिस्टिकली स्पीकिंग आपको लगता है कि अगर हमको स्वस्थ होना है जल्दी से, और ख़ास तौर से इस महामारी से, तो ये टीकाकरण मुहिम और तेज़ होनी चाहिए? अभी भी हम अपने 31 दिसंबर के लक्ष्य से थोड़ा सा पीछे हैं।
धन्यवाद। ये सवाल कि हमारा लक्ष्य जो 180-185 करोड़ टीके दिसंबर के अंत तक लगाने हैं और अब 90 हैं, अगले 8-10 दिन में हम लोग 100 हो जाएंगे। जैसे जैसे हम अपने लक्ष्य की तरफ बढ़ेंगे तो कुछ और चीज़ों का भी ध्यान रखना होगा। और एक तरफ तो हमने देखा है कि बहुत सारे प्रदेश हैं जहां पर 100% लोगों ने कम से कम एक टीका ले लिया है, लेकिन बाकी प्रदेश भी हैं जहां पर ये गति उतनी तेजी से नहीं है। और जैसे हम आखिरी की तरफ पहुंचेंगे तो कुछ ऐसे लोग मिलेंगे जिनको समझाने और बुझाने की ज़्यादा ज़रूरत होगी उनको, और उसमें देर लगेगी, तो उसके लिए भी तैयारी करनी होगी। जहाँ तक टीकों की उपलब्धता है, वो उपलब्धता करीब करीब अब हमें कोई संशय नहीं है। और मैं यहाँ पर ये भी बताना चाहूँगा कि कुछ जो वैक्सीन अभी जिनको इमरजेंसी यूज ऑथराइजेशन नहीं मिला है, 2 वैक्सीन हैं, एक बायोलॉजिकल ई की कॉर्बेवैक्स है और दूसरा जेनोवा की mRNA वैक्सीन, इन्होंने अपना स्टॉक पाइल करना शुरू कर दिया है। यानी कि दिसंबर के महीने में 30 करोड़ बायोलॉजिकल ई की और 6 करोड़ जिनोवा की वैक्सीन हमें और मिल जाएगी, जो बाकी हमारा कार्यक्रम चल रहा है। तो अगर हम इस सारे को देखते हैं तो वैक्सीन की कमी नहीं है। अब रहा, और पिछले 1-1.5 महीने में ये दिखाया है कि हमारे जो सिस्टम है उसकी कैपेसिटी इतनी है कि हम 1 और 2 करोड़ टीके के बीच में किसी दिन भी किसी बिना समस्या के दे सकते हैं। चौथी चीज कि ऐसे समय में एक सोशल मोबिलाइजेशन कैंपेन जो जन आंदोलन चल रहा है और जिसमें आप सब लोगों ने बहुत अच्छे तरीके से सहयोग दिया है कि लोगों में जो वैक्सीन के प्रति उत्साह और उत्सुकता है वो बनी रहे। तो अगर ये सारी चीजें हम लोग साथ साथ करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं तो हमें लगता है ऐसा कुछ हमें चिंता नहीं लगती है कि साल के आखिर तक हम लोग अपना लक्ष्य प्राप्त नहीं कर पाएंगे।
Dr. Reddy, thank you very much for being with us. You're probably the most well-informed and well-read doctor that we have interviewed for a long time. One of the issues is that you can read anything. There's so much uncertainty about what COVID is all about. You can read that we'll never have another wave. You can read we'll have a moderate other wave. We'll have a large and a huge next wave. You can read anything. You can read about vaccines. They're good, they're bad. But mostly, there is a consensus that vaccines are excellent, but they tend to die away after 4 or 5 months, at least drop below 50%. And the other worry is, and I want your opinion on this, that a single vaccine, instead of a double dose, gives you only about a 33% protection. So should we be going for double dose for everybody, single dose, booster dose? Again, you can read various opinions. What is your kind of consensus opinion on this?
Well, firstly, I think we have to live with the fact that the virus is going to be staying with us for quite a while, whether in the current form or in the form of new variants. I don't think the virus is ever going to get extinguished. All we can really hope is to build up the immunity of the people so that they will not get terribly sick and the risk of hospitalization and death will be markedly reduced. And that by a variety of measures, both by building up the blockade of immunity as well as through public health measures like physical distancing, avoiding large crowds for some time to come, and masks, we will be able to create a difficult passage for the virus to transmit. And evolutionary biology tells us that if we do all this, the viruses will actually tend to become less virulent because they have less of a host to exhaust. But they may try to become more infectious. Many viruses have altered their behavior to adapt to the human community and coexist in some form. And we have to hope that this new virus, relatively new virus, will also adopt the same path. But it is our behavior that will determine its behavior. So that is important for us to recognize. And we should not get into a celebratory mood that we have extinguished the virus and become careless, nor must we expect in a very unrealistic manner that the virus is going to permanently go away. Now, as far as the vaccines are concerned, I think the important element to remember is that our immunity is firstly fashioned by both the natural infection as well as by the vaccine. If a large number of people have been infected in the last 6 to 8 months, the likelihood is that there is a fair amount of residual immunity in them, though it will vary from person to person depending upon age, general state of health, amount of virus load they were exposed to. But the vaccine also would have given them immunity. Unfortunately, all the measurements of fading immunity have come more from antibody levels that have been measured. They do not exhaust all the antibodies against all the viral antigens, nor do they really measure the cell-mediated immunity, which might last a longer time. So the likelihood is that some amount of residual immunity may still continue to protect people. And ideally, yes, if we had an abundance of vaccines and adequate assured supply, everybody should get the 2 doses in a fairly quick time. But if we do not have that comfort right now, then we have to protect the most vulnerable people, the elderly and people with immunodeficiencies and who are otherwise also having severe comorbidities with the 2 doses, and try and spread out the single dose as fast as possible to everybody else. But the moment we get an abundance of vaccine supply, we should actually start trying to give everybody the 2 doses in the hope that that will provide continued protection even as we maintain our public health vigil. But sharing some of our supplies in the meanwhile with the rest of the world is also imperative, because unless most of the world develops that level of immunity to combat the virus, the variants can develop and creep back, breaching our defenses. And therefore, the vaccine-rich countries who believe they can go for 3rd doses and 4th doses are actually going to be haunted by the variants that will develop in under-vaccinated populations and will come into their territories.
बिल्कुल, ये कॉम्प्लिकेशंस जो हैं ये बहुत सारे हैं कि आप बूस्टर शॉट लें, उस बूस्टर शॉट का फ़ायदा भी होगा नए वेरिएंट पे, एंड अ लॉट ऑफ रिसर्च इज़ गोइंग ऑन along these lines. Mr. Bachchan, Mr. Junaid Ahmed, Country Director of the World Bank, is also with us.
Yeah, sir, this is Amitabh Bachchan. I just wanted to know, in your experience, how much of a role does the general health of a country and its population, its environment play on how prosperous a nation can be? Because this is what the main aim of today's program is.
Oh, there's absolutely no doubt that the lesson we have learned today is that economic growth, if it does not take into account health, the human capital, as well as the environment, it's not an economic growth that can either be sustainable or whether it can actually lead to welfare increases. Look at the challenges India faces, air pollution. So you can get a 7% growth rate going, but if you have air pollution associated with that growth, ultimately, what's the welfare of people? Or to take another example, you have 7% economic growth, but sanitation is not available. Swachh Bharat addressed that directly, that unless you're able to deal with open defecation along with economic growth, then the benefits of economic growth really don't translate into the well-being of citizens, and in particular, the poorer parts of society. So today, economic growth divorced from understanding of its impact on health and its impact on environment is not something that we can afford to do. Today, growth must be linked into the welfare, which is both linked into human capital as well as environment.
Mr. Gaurav Jain, I'd just like to ask you something. In the last 30 years, there have been rapidly evolving pathogen exposures, antimicrobial resistance, and healthcare shortages with more at-risk groups. And we've seen that the role of hygiene has been gaining importance. Do you think that efforts like Dettol Banega Swasth India are, in a sense, paving the path for strengthening hygiene prominence?
Yes, sir. I mean, as I said just now, I think one is the COVID has completely given everybody a crash course in this. And I think what we have been doing for the past 7 years is basically in this direction. I think all our programs are, the biggest thing that we propagated for the last 8 years was our school hygiene program, where we teach hygiene to students in the country. And today we are in 650,000 schools teaching hygiene. And I think we have demonstrated over the last 3 or 4 years that 14% reduction in diarrhea has happened with this education program. That's a massive difference. And now with COVID, I think everybody is talking about hygiene, everybody is doing more with hygiene, and as I said, we need to keep that up. We need to work harder, keep on educating consumers. That's something which is linked to the purpose of our brand. So the brand purpose of Dettol is to rid the world of infection and disease. And therefore education in hygiene plays a key role in doing that. And I think with the kind of help you've got from COVID to do this behavior change, I think we need to keep at it. We need to do more of it, and we need to keep people and consumers at a higher level of hygiene which they have come to, and not let it drop down.
Thank you. I'd just like to put a question to Mr. N.K. Arora. Sir, you've said that 100% immunization is the only way, and that herd immunity is a myth. How do we get there?
So, I will draw your attention to polio, where you have done such a huge kind of a facilitatory and leadership task. Everybody thought that if we immunize 80-85% children, we should be able to eradicate polio. But it never happened. Ultimately, when we reached 98%, I've been involved in polio directly. Only then we could interrupt the transmission. So this issue of herd immunity has to be seen in the larger context, that there are clusters of unimmunized people in various sections. So there may be a mohalla, there may be a village, there may be a group of people who just refuse or who do not have access to the vaccine. And then they become a kind of a reservoir and can further spread the virus. And therefore, although theoretically, herd immunity is something that if I randomly pick 100 people, 80 will be immunized, for example. But in actual setting, what happens that there may be a group of 100 people who are completely unimmunized. And that is why this concept of herd immunity, to my sense, is both mystical as well as mythical. It, in public health, it really does not work unless we target 100%, because when we target 100%, we may not reach 100%, but at least somewhere near there is important. It is important for COVID also that we have to, and that is what we have done, that for our whole COVID program, we said we must reach every adult. There are 94 crores. And that is what the target has been kept, that we try to reach. We hope that we will reach a very good, seeing the current encouragement and eagerness for the vaccine, we should be able to reach a large proportion. Anything more than 90-95%, if we start moving, we will see the impact. And even now the impact is visible. As Dr. Srinath Reddy has said, that natural infection is also a very important helping part. And I must tell you, India is one of the unique countries where such a large proportion of people have been affected. Just other day, we have seen a result that a lot of our people have not been affected because BCG vaccine, for example, one of the things has helped them not to get into severe disease. So there are several other environmental factors which are also working together along with vaccine that is going to protect, that is protecting us, and future also that should be our target to keep those things. Hygiene, I would like to make one very important point which adds up to the whole issue. The issue is that when we maintain hygiene, it has a direct impact of nutrition. there is excellent studies done in 60s and 70s within this India that those who live in dirty environment, they may be eating regular food or even more food than required, but they still remain malnourished because food is not absorbed. And therefore, hygiene is a very essential component, both for a spread of disease as well as for maintaining the nutrition. And when somebody is well nourished, the disease impact is also there.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. One question to Junaid Ahmed. You know, these last 2 years have been really difficult, really challenging. And you've watched it, you've been in India, you've seen the strengths and weaknesses. Give us 3 factors that we in India need to learn from the past and implement in the next few months and the next year. 3 factors that we must learn and implement.
I think the world and India have discovered through the COVID crisis that we must pivot back into public health. There's been a lot of emphasis on preventive health. Like we want to go to see a doctor will give us 2 tablets or an injection and we'll be fine. What we now discover is that unless we go into preventive measures, into public health, nations will not be able to address the challenge of public health. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons we have learned. So how do you rediscover and reimagine public health is really the name of the game. And public health has many, many components to it. For example, to begin with, India has the world's largest frontline workers, Anganwadi workers, self-help groups working, ASHA workers. This group engaging with communities in preventive health is really the future of India. So Poshan Abhiyan, which is the world's largest nutrition program that India has triggered, it can only work if there's that interface between communities and these frontline workers about rethinking what to eat, how to take care of the child. In particular, how do you deal with the health of the young mother, becoming a mother, young mother during the pregnancy and the first 1,000 days, right? That is crucial for not only the human capital of a nation like India, but also just simply the health of communities. And that's only one example. Swachh Bharat, of course, remains the biggest example. But I think for me, the storyline that came out of COVID was that India needs to strengthen its public health at the 3rd tier, meaning at the panchayat level and at the city level. Today, when we talk about unlocking India, we're really talking about unlocking urban India. And urban India, the cities and towns of India, do not have the type of public health services that India needs. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson that we have learned out of COVID-19 crisis.
Right. Lakshman, just taking on from that, what, as Amitabh was saying, the theme of these 12 hours is the link between health and growth of your economy and prosperity. How do you see that link in a nutshell?
You know, one of the things that this whole experience has taught us is that, we were living in a kind of an environment like a trapeze. We were swinging between swings, the music was playing, and all of a sudden the music stopped. And when the music stopped, people began falling off those swings. And some of them fell through the net completely. They didn't stop, but many were caught by this net of public health, this net of economic health. And by the way, what came through very clearly was this net was really very, very important. It was foundational for the people who fell. But what also came through is that these people who wake up every morning to tighten the net, the front line that Mr. Ahmed talked about, they were super important because they are the ones who actually protected this net, kept it taut, caught these people. So the health of a country depends upon its public health. It depends on the fact that we spend, and I know the government's got great ambitions, 2.5% of GDP going into public health, which I think is terrific. We've got to strengthen the delivery of health, at all levels, primary all the way down to tertiary. We've got to strengthen education in medical colleges. And we've got to strengthen the fact that, we educate people that at the end of the day, health is in your hands and you have to do things differently. So this is foundational. bringing private sector expenditure into it is another big avenue for us. But if we don't strengthen this net, we won't be prosperous. But if we do, think of the potential that lies ahead, both in terms of quality of life, length of life, and the productivity that people can bring to a country. That's at the heart of this.
Right, absolutely.
I like the idea about the trapeze and the net.
Yeah, I think it's a great,
it's a great thought.
Visually a great example. Yeah.
But really, I just feel that some of the questions that have come up because of this pandemic is, how am I going to die? Is this the way that I'm going to die? It's never come up before. And it says, is this the way I'm going to die? And you say, no, I'm going to fight it. And I'm going to come out victorious. And that's really what this net of the trapeze is providing for us.
I think that's very
we need to hold hands. And we need to fight this thing.
Absolutely.
Because these questions in normal life never used to exist. कैसे मरेंगे?
Right. Yeah. Very true.
ऐसे मरने वाले हैं? नहीं, ऐसे नहीं मरेंगे. हाथ पकड़ेंगे, लड़ेंगे उसके साथ.
And taking on from that, one thing is to die of COVID when you're really badly hit by it. The other is that you're not too badly hit, but there's no oxygen. That, I feel, is the net that we need to build. You shouldn't, you're not too badly, you would survive, but you don't survive because of a lack of the net. So that example is, we need to build up our oxygen supplies, our medical treatment, our doctors, even our testing. We can't take 5 days to test. So all that we need to learn from the past, that you must, if you have to die by a disease which cannot be cured, even with oxygen, fine, but don't die for a lack of infrastructure, health infrastructure.
I think the main point that you're trying to make, and this we discussed in the second wave also, let the disease, fine, it's a pandemic, usse nipatne ki koshish kar rahe hain. If the disease kills you, it's understandable, but apathy can't kill you.
Yeah.
I think that's the point that was being,
planning,
or lack of planning cannot kill you.
Yeah.
ओके लक्ष्मण जी, गौरव जी, आप दोनों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आप हमारे साथ बने रहेंगे यहाँ पर इस कार्यक्रम में. डॉक्टर श्रीनाथ रेड्डी, डॉक्टर अरोड़ा एज वेल एज जुनैद अहमद, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस. अब इससे पहले कि हम आगे बढ़ें, मैं ज़रा उठ करके आप लोगों को एक चीज़ दिखाना चाहता हूँ. ये धारावी रॉक्स एक बैंड है, और तब से, जब से ये लगा है, तब से आई एम सो अमेज्ड टू सी कि ये बजने वाला है. दीज आर ड्रम्स जिसमें पानी रखते हैं या कुछ और रखते हैं, एंड व्हाट इज दिस?
सर ये बॉटल्स है जिसमें थोड़ा राइस डाला है.
हाँ.
जो पेस्ट बलून्स होता है
टू डू दिस. Can I try? And then obviously it will be pathetic, but yeah. How do you do this? Like this?
Not bad.
Okay. Pardon my bad performance. Over
Not
to you
bad,
guys.
not
Thank
bad.
you.
Not bad at all.
Fantastic. बच्चन साहब, there is music in everything. ये ड्रम में भी
ड्रम में
म्यूजिक
अंदर से आवाज निकालना और इस तरह से बजाना
बहुत ही अद्भुत है। शिवमणि जिस तरीके से करते थे
और जो चिकचिक है वो बोतल में पानी भरा हुआ
हाँ नहीं चावल
for you.
should I get one for you?
नहीं नहीं, I don't know how to play this यार।
We've seen you play it once before.
नहीं नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं, मुझको आता नहीं और प्रोग्राम खराब हो जाएगा। ये बहुत अच्छा है। बहुत बहुत बधाई आपको।
Come and say hello. Come and say hello to.
No, I'll go there.
No, your foot.
Yes, all right. बहुत बहुत बधाई सर आप लोगों को। थैंक यू सो मच। ये कब शुरू किया था आपने ये सर?
सर ये जो पूरा बकेट्स है, जो भी लोग मोस्टली उसको फेंक देते हैं, तो वो चीज़ों से बनाया हुआ है सर। अगर हमारे साथ 1 मिनट अगर आप प्ले कर पाए प्लीज।
क्या प्ले करेंगे यार हम?
सर
Come and sit.
बड़ा वाला तो सर इसको हम लोग कैसे प्ले करेंगे? ये जो है ये बेस के लिए हम लोग यूज।
हाँ बेस के लिए वो छेद बनाया हुआ है।
Why don't you guys build on?
ये मेरा
आप भी
रिदम
साथ
है,
में
इसी के ऊपर
बजाओ।
बजाओ कुछ।
Make a rhythm.
ये इसी के साथ चलो।
Bad, yeah.
Variation.
That one also. You are better than me.
It's very good यार।
Yeah, lovely. Not bad, yeah.
Thank you. Superb.
One more.
like it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
Sideways, like this. Not bad.
कुछ बजाइए आप अपना कुछ बजाइए। हाँ